Great. So first, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions to kind of get a sense of who you are as an internet user, and that'll help us kind of figure out who uses this or how this site is used based on who use it. So, what do you do all day? What's your occupation?
I'm a student. I'm a journalism student, and I study advertising. I make media, like make content, so like videos and photos, and like some like writing stuff too. So I kind of think about things a lot of the time from like a marketing perspective, figuring out like who's trying to sell me what, where, and how they're doing it. So I think a lot about like native advertising and, but not a crazy amount about like UX and like website design and that kind of thing. But hopefully I'll have something interesting to add.
Cool. And so now, roughly how many hours a week altogether, ballpark estimate, would you say that you use the internet, including web browsing and email, work at home?
Dude, this is depressing. Probably like 40 hours.
40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what would you say that split is between email and browsing?
I'm pretty efficient on email. Like I don't really write emails all day or read emails all day. I check my email periodically. But like probably 80% browsing.
What kind of online things do you typically prefer to do on your phone versus a desktop laptop?
I mean, I like to view content like where it's designed to be viewed. So like Instagram is like native on phones. It's like works best on phones. I think Facebook works well on both phones and desktop. I like watching videos on desktop because the screen's bigger. But for example, like I like watching Snapchat stories on my phone because like they're designed to be vertical and it's like that's a native resolution for a phone. So I read primarily on the computer, watch videos primarily on the computer. And if I'm like going to like a brand's website or like a company website, I always do it on the computer because like the mobile apps always suck. And like you never can access the same amount of information. So I use apps on my phone and then like search things if I have to. But then like if I'm going to like a website, I'll like generally do it on the computer.
When you're on a website, what do you or what kind of sites are you looking at when you're browsing the web?
I mean, primarily like social media accounts, news publications, New York Times, and New Yorker, CNN. I read. I like to go to Fox News and read that like pretty daily too. I also like go to YouTube, and I like. It depends.
I think you
like
mentioned brand websites too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go to like Amazon. It's like brands that like if I'm shopping, I'll go and look at basically like brands if I'm like interested in buying their products. So like camera stuff, like Nikon, Sony. I've been going on Red Bull's site recently a lot. I'm into that brand. I look at a lot of like record labels stuff too, and like I read Pitchfork a lot and like music recommendation websites like blogs, that kind of stuff.
Cool. And when you say, do you have any favorite websites, and if so, what are they and why are they your favorite?
Okay, you know that Everything Now Arcade Fire website?
Okay.
Some fans of the band may know that. I think it's awesome. It's basically like it's like a promotional page for this band Arcade Fire's like new album, and basically it is like an emulator of an old like Windows 95 like interface, and you can like drag around windows inside of this like one like landing page and basically like buy their album, like watch their music video, but it's like interactive and like almost like you're using like an emulator. So I think that's really unique. I like websites that have like big photos and big videos on them, so it's like not a lot of white space. Actually, I mean, I like white space if it's going to be like text. Like I like it to be like very simple and non-distracting for text. But as far as like visuals, like I'm down for whatever. Like I want it to be big and like I want it to grab my attention. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Great. And what are some things that you dislike about websites in general?
It's always hard to figure out where I talk to people. Like if I'm trying to like talk to a person, it's like the contact me information is always so like shielded behind like layers of like I hate those forms that are like contact us and it's like you're just like sending something into the void and you will never hear back. I hate that. Yeah, that's basically like what I hate about websites.
It's hard to find people.
It's always hard to like if I'm trying to get in touch with a person, it's hard to actually like reach that person in a timely manner.
Okay.
I would rather it be like a phone number or like one person's email address or like because that just feels like you're getting, even if you don't hear back from email address, it feels like you're like even more like it's one step more personal than that like form basically. I don't like being treated like a data point, being fucking like using forms and stuff. I hate that.
What is something you'd like websites to have but they often don't, other than kind of that?
Something I'd like them to have. I think it's cool when there's like, I mean, I'm a video guy, like some sort of video or some sort of like piece of multimedia basically that explains what they do pretty quickly. So whether that's like a 2-minute video that's basically like a sizzle, it's like super exciting, explains basically what the business does, what the brand is doing. I really like that. But also like really like when Apple does it a lot on like their sites, but it's like you like as you're scrolling, like things are kind of like moving around and like you're just kind of like scrolling, but text is moving in and out and things are scrolling at different rates. I think that's really sexy and like it keeps me engaged.
Got it. Variable scrolling rates. When you're looking for an information on a website, what techniques do you use to find it?
So I used to use like the search. Sometimes websites will have like a search function. That's always hit or miss. Consistently hit or miss. Doesn't really mean anything, but I've found that doesn't really often help me. So I just try to like navigate via the menu, and find like go to what seems most intuitive for what I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for like examples of work, I'll try to navigate through whatever tiered menu they have. So often, I mean, sometimes it's more confusing than others.
Mm-hmm.
But I like a strong menu.
Like a strong menu. Cool. How are we on time on that?
7:50.
Cool. How long do you typically search for something on a news site before you give up?
Search on a news site?
Rather, like a new site that you've just gone to for the first time.
Well, it honestly kind of depends like on how beautiful the site is. Like if I am, like let's say like last night I went on a site for the first time. Like, there's this brand of guitar pedals that's called Strymon. It's like top of the line. Like the pedals themselves are like beautiful, and so like I was kind of expecting the website to be beautiful, and it was. So like if it's like pretty to like look around on, then like I'll kind of browse around. I feel like I will stay longer if there are like big pictures and like little text. Like I don't really like if there's more text, I'm more likely to leave. Unless I came there to read, like a news website.
Yeah.
If my intention was to like come and read 1,000 words, then like I'll do that. But like
Right.
if it's a new website and I'm not gonna read, like you're gonna have to get my attention some other way, dude. Because like I'm not gonna get past the first sentence probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're done with the questions. So we can start looking at things. What I'm going to do now is pause this recording, make sure that it shows up somewhere
Cool.
in my little doc, and then we can get started here. Okay.
Thanks, Brian.
So we're going to run through a prompt. I'd like you to type in the following into the URL bar. med.stanford.edu/spectrum.html.
Nailed it.
Great. So first, I'm going to ask you to look at this page and tell me what you make of it, what strikes you about it, whose site you think it is, what you can do here, and what it's for. Just look around and kind of give me a narrative. You can scroll if you want, but don't click on anything yet.
Okay. So, like, seems legit. I've scrolled to the bottom, and has like all these credentials associated with Stanford University, medicine, healthcare. So I think like, immediately on the, like when I come, like, I mean, like with the header, it's obviously a Stanford medicine site, but that kind of to me verifies that it's legit. So there's a lot of like referenced like partners. I guess it's I'm not sure if this site is like for professionals or for just like people like me.
Okay.
But it looks like it's about research and education and medicine.
What can you do here?
On the site.
Mhm.
I can kind of look through the menu, get links to various, like, I guess, obviously, researcher resources doesn't really mean anything to me. But it's like two-tiered. This looks like it's pretty easy to use. Stuff about education and training, grants, calendar about us. I would probably go to like about us since I don't really know what this site is, and I don't feel like the content's like super relevant to me. So like the first thing I would probably do is be like, what is this about us? But also like you can see there's like the calendar and the news, which like I'm assuming is probably updated like pretty regularly, like status updates about what's going on.
Cool. All right, great. Yeah, that's kind of at a basic level what I needed you to look at. So thanks. Now I'm going to ask you to try to do some specific tasks. I'm going to read each one out loud, and here's a printed copy of all of these tasks. So again, as much as possible, it'll help you if you think out loud as you go along, and because we're recording, we'll know where you're clicking. So I'll read aloud the first scenario. I'm going to, okay. So yeah, so I'll give you 5 minutes to freely explore the site. Go anywhere you'd like to. Remember to speak out loud as you do, and I'll tell you when 5 minutes is up. So your 5 minutes starts now. You can click anywhere you want. And just kind of tell me what you're thinking as you click through what you're learning.
Okay.
And why one click is leading to the next.
Okay. So I'm going to take the time to actually like read the content too, because that makes me feel like a little bit more educated in my clicks. So I kind of like went back home. Am I on the website still?
You actually just left the website.
Okay.
So you can go back, and you clicked on that link.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So that's something that I normally do. Like when I'm trying to go back to like the home page instead of going back, I often click on the logo, because like that normally takes you home. But I guess that took me like to like some greater home. I'm kind of drawn to this one because there's a graphic.
You're drawn to the homepage because there's a graphic, or the
to
metrics
this
research.
to this, like, I don't even know what this is. This resource. Out of the three because of the graphic, like, it makes me think that like, oh, there's probably more like infographics in this, and that could be cool.
Mm-hmm. So you actually just left the site again.
So, okay.
There are more internal pages. I'll say that.
Okay. Am I allowed to go on these?
Yeah. Click wherever you want. I'll let you know if you
leave
end up
the site.
leaving this website. But yeah, again, we're studying how it's designed.
So I'm definitely more attracted to things with pictures. Like I'm way more likely to click these because they have pictures.
Right.
kind of interested in this because it's like seems like editorial content out there.
You get a 4 out of 4.
Yeah, I'm like, as someone who's not a researcher, like the site, it's kind of weird to know where to go because like I don't really have much content to consume. But I was attracted to this because it seemed like it would be more just like a narrative about a person. That's more relatable to me than like maybe like the research actually being done.
Right.
So I like when I first came to the website, obviously like looked at this, like the graphic, and then like kind of immediately like looked over this and just saw this.
So you missed that part.
I
the
missed
first
this
time
part
with the
entirely.
spotlight.
I didn't even really know it was there.
Why do you think you read over it?
It's just like, it's just text. It's not even like, it's not a bigger font like this. It doesn't exist within sort of like a menu structure. So, I mean, maybe I just went over because there wasn't like a graphic or like some sort of like structure or like text that like outlines it to like make it like a module, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think some of the pages you end up clicking to, you need like a onion.
Gotcha.
To log in. Cool. Got about another minute left if you feel like there's anything else on the site you want to explore. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of it is kind of onion protected.
Yeah.
Or at least the stuff that you seem to be clicking on.
Yeah.
Or you're drawn
Well,
to.
at least it clicks. So I normally like to click on photos and stuff like that. So that's definitely like my first instinct. I guess I can try to click on this. Just.
And that takes you to the about.
I think that's confusing.
That you click accelerating and then it just kind of
goes to the health. I think, well, this makes sense that the learn about spectrum goes to health. But to me, like this feels like it's like a banner, like a scrolling banner that would have like news or stories on it. It's not clear to me, but this is clear, but it's smaller. But it's not clear to me that this is like an about. Like.
Gotcha. All right, so our 5 minutes is up on this task, so we'll move to task 2. Imagine you're a faculty researcher seeking sources of funding for a clinical trial for a drug you're researching. You want to learn about the projects that have successfully earned funding in years past. Navigate to where you'd find this information, talking through your decisions. You may click to other pages.
Is there a specific,
So do you feel like you're at a page that would allow you to answer that question now, or at least to get there? Everything else, just assuming everything else here is password protected.
Yeah. So that was pretty easy.
Okay.
Like, so thinking funding or wherever, or say grants, and that immediately is like, okay, funding. I clicked on this because this seems like a current program. Nothing doesn't really seem like it would have information about the past.
Yeah. Just click out of that.
And I don't really know. I didn't really read that.
Okay.
Because I got here first, and that seemed like it.
Seemed like it fit what you were trying to.
Yeah, definitely.
Question.
Because when I like think of like grants, it's like, okay, like when I click here, it's probably going to tell me like these are the certain grants that are available, and then like under that, here are like things that have been done in the past with the grant.
Perfect. Yeah, that's so how you just walked me through, you found that is it, and how you just walked me through how you found it is exactly what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that was easy.
The rest of the scenario is great.
Yeah.
So you can now, without using the search bar or leaving the site, consider where you might find information regarding an intensive course in clinical research. When you feel like you've completed the task, let me know.
I feel like I completed the task.
And so walk me through your thought process on how you got to this page.
So if I'm thinking about a course on clinical research, course makes me think education. So that makes a lot of sense with this menu item. And then I was just I didn't read it from top to bottom for some reason. I just kind of like looked to where it said clinical because that was what I was supposed to look for.
Mm-hmm.
So then just like read through these, and this was exactly what I was supposed to look for. I did look at this first, just because it was above it and it said clinical. There are two things above this one that said clinical that caught my eye first.
But not enough to click on it.
I just wanted to finish reading before, and before I found this, I was going to click into this, because that seemed like the next logical thing.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Task 4. Imagine you're a tenured professor interested in doing a research study at Stanford. However, you can't exactly remember what the regulations are for this type of study. Using the website, look to find an answer for this dilemma. Let me know when you've completed this task.
Okay, so regulations for my study. Okay, this seems like a regulations for my study.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this section, tell me how you got to this section.
So, if I'm a professor, I'm a researcher, so researcher, that makes the most sense, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's confusing at all. And then was reading through it. Regulatory, so that seems like it might be what I was looking for, but not exactly what the regulations were. But there's basically the same word, so that was slightly confusing. So I would have clicked on that if I didn't find this. This seems to be not what I was looking for. Yeah. If I'm looking for the regulations for my study, I clicked here, and then since it had all three,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I wasn't here upon like when I just clicked on the page.
Oh, I see. So you would have been looking for something that was more split between.
Yeah, but between the three, I thought there were going to be three headings as I scrolled down.
I see.
So it's like, okay, regulations, but I don't see anything right here that says regulations. I don't even see the word. I see it maybe there. But so I was like, okay, so I guess it's just these three things. I'll scroll until it's what I need, which seems to be like this part.
Right, and depending on what kind of sub-policy you need, you click there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're at 14, so I'm going to pause this and then save that out. All right. Got a few more tasks. Task 5. You're a member of a research team. Your team wants to apply for funding to cover its study on AIDS prevention and treatment. You want to know what funding program your team should apply for and what materials your team should submit for the application. Use this website to find that information. When you think you've accomplished this, let me know.
I'm not sure, man. Is this
Okay.
it?
So you are on a page that has information now about grants and funding. There's nothing that specifically mentions AIDS research here.
Yeah.
What I was hoping is that you'd be able to infer that the pilot grants fund individual and team projects up to 50 grand a year, awarded through faculty committees for this special area.
This one?
Yeah, the pilot grant.
Innovation Accelerator Pilot Program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I got here. I went here
Okay.
at some point. I think that might have been my first click. But did not infer that the pilot grant. Well, I didn't read it. I started reading this.
Okay.
I started reading this overview part. And that didn't really tell me that me as a member of a research team who needed funding should go through maybe I just don't know how researchers think.
Okay.
But I was not it wasn't intuitive to me that I would be a part of this program, so I kind of was like, oh, this is a program, this is not like a standard grant funding thing.
I see.
And then after I went here, I was like, well, I went on that page before, and that was just like the past. So then it's like, well, I am a researcher if I'm a part of this team. So I went to research. This was where I went first.
Okay.
The first menu I went to was researcher resources, expecting a funding thing here. Realizing there wasn't, then went to the funding tab, and then wasn't totally clear on like what this was. So then I went to it. I didn't go to this because I thought that this was where I would find the answer. I went to this because I knew what this was. I knew that this wasn't the answer, so maybe this is it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great. All right. I think we're ready to move on to the next task.
Cool.
So now you're a junior faculty in the Department of Pediatrics. You heard of a helpful mentor program that will help with the academic enrichment. You want to attend workshops to learn more about the program, find out about what workshops are available. Let me know when you've completed this task.
I think I'm here.
Okay. And so you clicked on register for class? For the
Class calendar.
Okay. So tell me about what about a clinical or research operations program linked you to a mentor program.
So I went to education and training,
Mhm.
and then so it was like asking about like participating in a program, or like for a workshop. A mentor. So I thought that this was a mentor program because this would be like a program about clinical research. Maybe I should have clicked into this. I don't know. But I first went to calendar
Okay.
to look for events, news and calendar, and then didn't see anything. I like scrolled through here and didn't see anything. So then I was trying to go through these things, but I was mainly like looking for like dates for workshops, and then what workshops were available like through education and training. This seemed like a workshop that might have something to do with a mentor.
Okay, gotcha. We can move on to the next task. You were
I'm tired.
it's okay. You're a clinical research trial coordinator at Spectrum. You're in charge of scheduling patients for a study that determines the effects of a drug on human lung health. Part of your responsibilities include ethically onboarding the patient. Your principal investigator tells you that before the trial begins, you need to become familiar with the informed consent process. She tells you that there are monthly trainings organized by Spectrum and you need to go to one before July 1st. Navigate to where you'd find this information, talking through your decisions, clicking through other pages. Tell me out loud the times and dates for these trainings from now until July 1st.
Okay, so I'm on this page. And I'm looking for the informed consent events. So there's one on April 3rd at 9 a.m. May 1st, 9 a.m. June 5th, 9 a.m. July 3rd, 9 a.m.
Okay. So the July 3rd one not counting because you got to do it before July 1.
Okay.
Great. So tell me why you navigated to this page and why you scrolled through the calendar the way you did.
I mean, if we're talking about like when events are, that makes sense. It'll be on news and calendar, and then like you come to the page, and this is the only way to scroll is to scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't change any of these things.
Why not?
I didn't know that they were there.
Right up until now, you're looking at it.
Until being asked how I did it, I just like started scrolling.
Did you see full calendar in the bottom right?
No.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I like maybe did, but just decided not to do it.
Eric, click it real quick. Would you feel like you had been able to accomplish the task quicker with that layout or the one that was embedded in the page?
Probably this layout.
So it shows everything by month.
Yeah, I mean, I can just see it right there, and then would probably know that it would be around the same time. Yeah, this is easier.
Okay, cool. Good to know. We can go to the next one. You've recently been hired as the Vice Chancellor of Innovation at Stanford. You were invited to have lunch with principal investigators at Spectrum who share their inventions. One that stands out to you is a tear duct stimulator. Excited to share this invention with your colleagues who work in neurobiology. Sorry, I forgot to say you are excited to share this invention with your colleagues who work in neurobiology. Navigate to where you would find more information out about the tear duct stimulator, walking through your decisions. You can click to other pages. I think that is going to take you off of the Spectrum page.
Okay. Oh.
I think that is you're now on a different department's page. So now we're about 2 minutes in. I'll tell you, you can find this on the About Us page.
Like on About Us. That was super confusing.
So I created this question because I think that this page here is super buried,
Very buried.
and not featured. So tell me why
I like this page.
Yeah, I do too. Tell me why you started off on the. I think you were on Researcher Resources for a little while. Why did it make sense that a story about tear duct stimulators would be there?
Because I assume it's like a piece of information that's been studied like through the Stanford Medicine department, and like if you're the rest of these are just like it's about education, funding, quality of research, news and calendar, which seems to be about events. So it's like this is where like the content of the website is seemed to be housed, and so that's the first tab on the left on the menu.
Right.
And so I was kind of expecting that there'd be like some sort of like research thing, or like most recent research or something that was along those
On
lines.
Researcher Resources.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some sort of like news about like, so there's like news for the place, but like if there was some sort of like research, like this page could be a thing on here. I don't know what you title it.
What do you think about the fact that this
Yeah,
page is on Bury Us, or is buried under About Us on a quick link?
That makes no sense at all. Like I would have never gone to About Us to click on Spectrum success stories.
Because you don't feel like that's kind of a logical place to put it.
It doesn't seem logical that it would be under About Us. I feel like Spectrum success stories would be on the homepage as like a just because it would be kind of hard to navigate through a menu. Like it'd be cool if it was just on the main homepage, like as like with a picture. Because like as someone who is not familiar with this website, like the homepage is kind of like, well, what do I do here? But this page, as someone who is not a researcher, is like looks more interesting.
Yeah, makes it relevant.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Cool. Okay, great. How much time is on the bottom left?
50 seconds.
50 seconds? All right, let's close it out. All right, let's do these last two tasks. You were an undergraduate junior and you studied biology. Your friend got into Stanford's master's program in laboratory animal science, and you've recently become interested in applying for the same program. You want to know how to apply and when the next admissions deadline is. Navigate to where you find this information. You can leave the Spectrum site if you need to. Nice. You got there. What was the I was double checking to figure out, because I was wondering whoever read this question why they
That was a good one.
yeah, one of my team members read this. I wasn't sure where they linked, but I guess it was under the education and training tab in Tracks, or not in Tracks, in the Spectrum site.
To where?
I was asking you how you got there. So it was the
Oh.
KL2 research
No.
training program.
I went there and I was like, this is not it. So
Okay.
I just clicked on the logo,
Oh,
clicked on education, clicked on master's programs, scrolled down, and it was there.
great. Okay.
That was really easy.
That was really easy. Yeah, and I think comparatively that the Stanford Medicine website has their information like kind of very accessible, and then kind of to your point, right, with kind of this scroll.
I will say that like I think that was so much easier than any of the other tasks. I'm so accustomed to clicking this logo, going home, scrolling to see what I need to see, like down in here, usually with a picture or like some sort of graphic thing.
Right, like the
that
little the graduation cap was like, oh
It's like,
yes,
oh,
this makes
so
sense.
there's 3 things that you guys do here, and I'm undergrad looking for education. This was like the only part where I had to like read like a list of things, but it was pretty obvious. But in the Spectrum site, like none of the information is conveyed. None of the stuff I was looking to find was ever here.
Mhm.
This is just kind of like, I don't even know like what this. It's resources, which I guess is similar to what this is, but like the first thing I had to do on the Spectrum site, instead of like scroll down and see a graphic that had like what I was looking for, was like I had to like dig through these menus,
Right.
which kind of sucks.
Instead of going to an icon. And then...
I want to go to it. I want to go to the homepage, scroll down, see an icon, or like see something that's me, like that on that very homepage. It's like, oh, like here's me, and so it's like here's all the things that are interesting to me. Like if I was a researcher, it's like, oh, researcher, go here. Like undergrad, go here.
Cool. All right, great. Last one. After gathering data for your clinical trial, you're having trouble figuring out how to make a convincing argument with the data. Bringing up this issue with your co-investigators, one mentioned she thinks Stanford offers some sort of biostatistics help program. Navigate to where you'd find information about help with biostatistics, talking through your decisions. All right, that was quick and easy.
Nailed it.
So
I had seen that before.
You did not see that before.
I had seen it before.
You had seen it before.
I know it was there.
So that at some point, familiarity with the menu, kind of helps you get there.
Well, because I was looking for this for the Vice Chancellor, this one, for task 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was like, maybe this has something to do with the tear duct simulator. It's like biostats, maybe, because I was looking for like bio or something like that. Something along those lines. So I knew it was there.
Great. I have a brief follow-up survey, but now is a good opportunity to ask me any questions you have about the research or about anything else.
Am I getting paid?
I have something for you when you're finished. So here you can fill out this very brief form about your experience.
Thanks, Brian.